time, Badass here. It's a common myth that if you die in your dreams, you'll die in real life. When we have dreams of falling, we often wake up just as we hit the pavement thinking, thank God it was only a dream. A less reported experience is continuing to dream past the point at which you die. It's also possible for these dreams to end without you waking up, allowing for the void between dreams to tell you there is no great beyond. While we can never know what happens for sure when we die, one thing is certain. There is a hell that does exist. The hell within our minds. Today I'd like to share my experiences with the afterlife in my own dreams. While I'd like to say that this video is filled with both light and dark experiences, the truth is, I've never dreamt of a proper heaven. In fact, the closest I've ever come to heaven in my dreams is the overwhelming gloom of purgatory. Before we get started, I'd just like to mention that I am not a religious person. I don't believe in heaven or hell or anything associated with these places. These dreams occurred throughout various times in my life, some as far back as the age of 10 when I was being raised as a Christian. While I consider myself pantheist, I am well aware that the most likely scenario to an afterlife is going back to the same state we were in before we were born. To quote Mark Twain, "I do not fear death. I had been dead for billions and billions of years before I was born, and had not suffered the slightest inconvenience from it." With that being said, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Darkness. Complete and total darkness. I am neither sitting nor standing. In fact, I'm not aware of having a body at all. As far as I can tell, I'm only awareness floating in an empty sea of pitch black. The thought occurs to me that I'm dead. Although I have no memory of dying, the reality sinks in. In the distance, I hear a deep, dark voice speaking to me. The words are indistinct. I can't understand any of them. And although I'm unsure of what's being said, that doesn't stop the words from hitting home. I am swiftly overcome with feelings of hopelessness and depression. An overwhelming sorrow for everything that I am, whatever that is, renders me completely unable to deal with my own existence. It was a pain so deep that I would have ended my life if it hadn't already slipped away. With eternity laid out before me, I now grieve for my own death and the emptiness of this apparent afterlife. My eyes snap open to reveal it was all just a dream. Surely nothing could be worse. This dream repeated itself from time to time for weeks until I dreamt about my afterlife in a new way. I find myself in a small room, maybe 6 by 6 feet. There are no doors in the dimly lit area. It is also unclear what is producing the modest amount of light. I am sitting at a rusted iron table with a corroded chair to match. Opposite me is an empty chair. I look around, confused, but when my gaze comes back to the chair opposite my own, I find myself face to face with a man I know to be Jesus Christ. Clothed in all white, with a look of sympathy on his face, he informs me that I'm dead and that he will answer any questions that I might have. I ask him if I will go to heaven. He looks down at the table in sorrow and then back up at me. "No," he said. "If you were, you'd already be there." My thoughts go to every passage I've ever read in the Bible about the exquisite horrors that await me in hell. I burst into tears and sob into my hands. My face is completely wet as I plead for forgiveness. "It's too late," he said, placing his hand on my shoulder. "You had your time, but that time has now passed." I asked him why, in what moment of my life had I been destined for hell. He told me that he had always known this is where I would belong. That despite my best efforts to believe, it was impossible for me, as this person, to ever reach the glory of God. He said while everyone has a chance to go to heaven, most are destined for hell before they ever reach the grave. My sadness is replaced with anger. I told him that I had been created just to be tossed away in eternal fire, just for being who I was made to be. Various obscenities leave my mouth as he stands up, apologizes, and exits through a door that had not been there before. In the other room I see a middle-aged man playing chess with a faceless figure. His room had flames burning every wall. The man took a sip from a stein and swallowed hard, and as he wiped his chin, our eyes met. I woke up covered in sweat and tears, fearing that no matter what I did, hell awaited. I enter the dream and find myself outside. The sky is overcast and gray. The plains around me are all subdued hues of their original colors, almost grayscale. as if almost every ounce of life had been drained out of the landscape. The air is still and stale. There is no moisture, but the wind never blows. My emotions are that of hopelessness and defeat, almost emptiness. Not quite depression, but a knowing that my emotional state would be the only one I would experience for the rest of my days. I make my way to a lone tree in the flat expanse of the world before me. The tree is dead and gnarled, bearing no leaves on many of its knotted branches. There I see a woman with a baby in her arms, and many small children, less than 5 years old, all standing near her. She and the children are completely physical, but their skin is just as gray and marbled as the sky above. Though I can't remember the words she said to me, I know that she informed me that we were in Purgatory. We would never again feel joy or excitement, but I can remember one thing she said to me verbatim. It could be worse. I awaken feeling empty and think, if this is the afterlife awaiting me, I could handle it. Similar to the first dream, I find myself as floating awareness in the dark expanse of eternity. The indistinct voice again speaks to me, bringing tears to my eyes. I'm surprised to find that I actually do have eyes, as well as arms and legs. And I think, at least I have a body. After an indeterminable amount of time, a door opens and light pours in over top a black stairway that seems to go on for miles. I made my way up the stairs and found myself face to face with the devil himself. Satan in this dream is a stereotypically red-skinned satyr. While it might be expected to feel fear in this moment, I wasn't afraid. He was very personable and was able to subdue any negative emotions I might have had by simply telling me everything was going to be alright. We walked through corridors of black with doors on either side every 4 or so feet. Moans, groans, and pleas for mercy occasionally met my ears as we walked. It's been many years since I've had this dream, so I can't recall the exact words that were said. However, I do remember that my walk with the devil had the purpose of trying to scare me straight so that I might reach heaven. This was a recurring dream for a few weeks during my teen years. Once, Jesus was there and spoke with the devil as a co-worker. I got the sense in those dreams that Jesus was there to drop off fresh souls for eternal torment. While this is to date my most recent dream of the afterlife, it's also the shortest, and in it I found myself trapped in what appeared to be a casket. Every few seconds, a red-hot spear was plunged through one of the 6 sides of the box and into my body. The searing, stabbing pain was overwhelming, but I was able to avoid some of the stabs by squirming in my box. After a few moments of this, I somehow escaped my box and briefly looked back at my aggressor. It was a satyr with the head of a bull skull. It had no skin or lower jaw, but it had living eyes in its sockets. He made no effort to chase me as I made my way across the terrain that was nothing more than interconnected souls of the damned tangled up in each other. To make my way forward, I was stepping on heads, arms, legs, abdomens, and everyone was so tightly packed that I was unable to tell where one person stopped and the other began. I made my way across the bodies to the top of a peak, and when I peered down, I saw many other cow-headed demons torturing poor souls, some with spears and some with their bare hands. One group of demons ushered a line of naked people like cattle. The person at the front of the queue was swiftly disemboweled. The line moved forward, and again, with no end in sight. There was always someone there to take the place of the first. Aside from this, there seemed to be little rhyme or reason to the chaos. Sometimes there were many demons for one person, and other times one demon for many people. While I can't recount everything that was going on, I can tell you that many people were strung up by various appendages. The demons took great pleasure in their jobs, even to the point of laughing at and degrading people who were undergoing their punishment. I woke up, as always, glad that it was just a dream. I hope that none of these experiences are what's in store for anyone once they die, but again, I can't be sure. Thanks for watching, guys. If you found this video interesting, please give it a like and consider subscribing. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SpacetimeBadass. You can also like the brand new Spacetime Badass Facebook page. If you'd like to support my work, please check out my Patreon at patreon.com/SpacetimeBadass. Or if you'd like to help out and get some lucid dreaming goodies for yourself, please use my Dreamleaf affiliate link in the description box down below. They have lucid dreaming supplements, dream journals, and more. But no matter what, until next time, thank you for watching, and sweet dreams. False awakenings are a fairly common experience, especially among those who are starting to learn the lucid dreaming practices. Some common false awakening themes are waking up late for work or school, starting or completely finishing your morning routine,